going to talk about a movie I saw this week that was really, 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 really good. I made my husband go watch Hustlers. Now you'd be like, a stripper about movies, or a movie about strippers, your husband had to be all over that. No, he did not want to go. He did not want to go. He did not like that movie at all. I loved it. He hated it. I thought it looked really good from the previews, plus, and I'm a huge fan of Lizzo, so I was like, oh, Lizzo's in it, let's go see it. So they drew me in with the previews and the fact that it had Lizzo and Jennifer Lopez in it. Let's not lie. Okay, so the movie follows two main strippers, and it starts off before the stock market crash of 2008, and how these girls are making money. They are they're making like legit money in the strip club. They're working together. They're making legit money, and they're bringing in muku cash, which is fine if you want to strip and you want to make money the legal way. I'm all for strippers doing their thing, making their money, as long as it's all above board, which is where they start off with, where they are above board. And then the 2008 crash comes, and all the money from the Wall Street guys is dried up, and nobody's going to the strip club anymore. And those that are going to the strip club are expecting more than just a lap dance. And you see one of the main characters, not Jennifer Lopez's character, but the other main character, you see her at her lowest, where she ends up giving the guy offers her $300 for a blowjob. She ends up cracking and giving him a blowjob, and it turns out he put 320s on the table, so it was like $60. And that's when she's at her lowest. And at this point, her and Jennifer Lopez had gone their separate ways because the other character had her daughter and had quit stripping, and she'd gone back into stripping. And at her lowest, she sees Jennifer Lopez, who is bringing men into the club. She's gone out, and they call it fishing, where you go out and you have one girl kind of hit on a guy, pick a guy that's wealthy, hit on him, and then you find out or you get him drunk and you take him to the strip club, and you like try to rack up as much money on his credit card as possible, and you take a percentage from the club, which is shady but not completely illegal at this point. So you're kind of like, it's shady, not that great, but it's not bad. But then the guys start to catch on to what they're doing, and it becomes harder, so they decide to do a sprinkle of ketamine and MDMA, I think it's ketamine and MDMA. And they put that together, and they start sprinkling that on top of and putting it in the drinks, and they are drugging them in. Now, I don't know much about MDMA, but I do know that ketamine is a sedative, and you can overdose on it and die. So there's that. So you've got this whole scene where Jennifer Lopez and her partner are in Jennifer Lopez's kitchen, and they are like mixing this together, and then they taste it and they pass out on the floor. They really, this is based off a true story, and even like it sounds very familiar as to what Cardi B did when she was, and they could have killed these men. And people were talking about how they don't feel sorry for these men, that they were going there or whatever, so they had to make a really sympathetic victim. So they pick a guy who's really nice, and he's got a kid and his wife left him because his kid's autistic, and they end up draining his entire like corporate credit card and his regular credit card, so he ends up losing his house. And then he ends up catching one of the girls talking about how it was, a setup and that they were drugged. And that's how they get caught. In real life, it was somebody else who noticed that there was like a bunch of money. He would go out with a girl, and then he would end up at a strip club, and a bunch of money would be missing when he's never gone to a strip club. And he couldn't remember the night before. So that's how they got caught in real life. None of what they are doing is okay. It's a fascinating look into that world and how it works, and how each were using the others. If you go back to the whole when they were just stripping, and you had to tip the bartender, and you had to tip the guy that let you work, and then you had to tip bouncer to send people your way. No other job that I'm aware of do you have to pay to work like that. That's ridiculous, and I understand why these girls got mad and why they started doing what they were doing, as men looked at them as a commodity and they did the same thing. But I definitely don't think drugging and robbing men is ever a good idea. I do feel bad for the men that were taken advantage of. I also feel bad for the strippers. It's a very interesting look into that world. It's a very you're looking at it and you're going, neither is great, but neither is bad. What do you do here? Who do you side with? I still haven't sided with either side because I think both were wrong and I think both were kind of, justified in their actions. I mean, what are you gonna do? But the movie's really good. I highly recommend watching it. Just beware, it's got a lot of things like if you were I'm still a tiny little bit prudish and I was uncomfortable watching some of it. But for the most part it was just really, really good and you should definitely go and see it, and I will see you later.